something unique. His uniqueness was was his genre, and this genre was introduced first time, and uh, his genre was first time introduced by him, and he was uh, uh, he, there is no parallel uh, a poet in the whole Gothic literature uh, as good as Mr. Alan Edgar Poe. So first things first, I'm going to move the slides so that we could see more in it. Uh, so moving on, I'm going to come to the basic concept of and some basic concept and facts in the in Edgar Poe. First, we know that we should know that there are the uniqueness that I was trying to say, that he was so unique. He introduced. He was a father of modern mystery fiction. So and he stood at a point where he, he, he stood at the pinnacle of his genre, and he was such an influential writer that uh, the, no no one surpassed him. Uh, Maybe that's why we are taught Alan Edgar Poe as a Gothic poet and a short story writer, but we don't find a parallel uh, poet or a short story writer addressing this genre of Gothic literature. We will discuss Gothic literature in detail afterwards, but right now I am concentrating on this point. Uh, we talked about uniqueness. We talked about, we have learned that he was a poet and a short story writer. His repute was globally recognized. He was a writer of global repute, and he earned it uh, by writing many of his poems in short story writings. For example, he wrote the bells that I was uh, I did an assignment on the bell, how he uses sounds in his poetry and how to examine them. That's not the topic here. That's why I'm not going into the details. But he was unique in the said. He said uh, uh, he was a gifted poet, and he had this quality in him that he looked for sounds uh, uh, and a strange sort of diction is used in it that addressed the topic of Alan Edgar Poe. He was the father of modern mystery. I have told you before that modern mystery was uh, introduced by him because there was no concept of these sort of writings at that time. He wrote about graveyards and zombies and uh, all the horror element was included in his writings. So he was a poor man, and his father and his mother were actors, but they were scorned by the society. Why? Because they were poor, they weren't rich, and he was uh, living a life so challenged that it looks that that he was a brave man, an audacious person, a person who had willpower, a person who had strength in him. He fought his obstacles and he moved on in his life. And now we praise him because he what he wrote was neither wrote earlier and nor there was a writer in his up till now there is not a writer that addressed the same sort of genre. His parents were actors and they they were scorned by the respectable society. Now, I would say that respectable in what sense? Uh, a poor man can be respectable. Uh, why do we always uh, align uh, sophistication with money? A man can be sophisticated, a woman can be sophisticated without money. But this is the materialism and the materialistic approach, which is, I'm afraid to say that it is it has not been extinct. It is now we can find these sort of elements in our today's society. And then his father disappeared uh, uh, before his birth as and then you know you better know that uh, when when a father abandons his children, they are at the they are at the world's disposal how they are going to treat them. So I would say that he was maltreated by the society, and people who are from broken families, we can see that if uh, parents uh, uh, they move, they get separated, they get divorced, their children are suffer from mental disorders, from mental diseases. So we can understand the poet in this context because he wrote he wrote such a genre. Why? Because he was facing all these difficulties, all these obstacles, because he was an abandoned child. So that was why maybe that's why he wrote mystery novels and horror stories. He wanted to. I think he used an escapist approach uh, where he uh, tried to escape uh, his world and go to a world that is full of fantasy and is full of imagination, full of life, light, and away from darkness. So we're going to go to the next slide now. Uh, we're going to go to the next slide, and we will see that how there are only a few more points that I would like to discuss of this great poet. These are some more facts about Alan Edgar Poe. Alan Edgar Poe was an attractive and intelligent. He had an intelligent style. Why? Because uh, he was influenced and he was manipulated. Such children who uh, such children who are uh, who faces such a tragedy of their parents getting divorced, or a father who abandons his child, he could be a mentally ill person, because it is enough for him. Because when you are a small child, you're very sensitive in matters like family issues, and that stigma is stamped on you, and you can never get out of this. But yet, he was such a brave man that he never lost his conscience, he never lost his aim of life of getting of giving his readers the best, what they what he could provide and what he could offer. So the name of Gothic fiction was popular at his time because he started with this fiction, and uh, we know that he had some problems, and those problems became a catalyst, sort of catalyst in that chemical reaction that was going on in his life. So uh, this catalyst uh, intensified the situation, and instead that Poe uh, got um instead that Poe got Poe could have uh, demoralized. He could have broken personality, but he never lost hope from life, and that is the best thing that we can learn from this poet. The musicality, about musicality, I've told you about the bells. It's a great poem. Please read it and sense the musical element, how bells rang, and how he attached that ringing with his with his greater topic, with his major topic that he wanted to discuss, and how it influences readers' minds. Please try, read it, and see whether you experience such a feeling or such sentiments or not. He was fond of traveling. He uh, introduced horror and nail biting. There was nail biting systems. You could eat your finger. You can bite your finger and get bruised when you read him, or when if there is some adaptation made on it. Uh, you could have you will face such a feeling. He was court-martialed from army. Still, his willpower is portrayed when we come to know that he was mm, mm, court-martialed from the army. When you get court-martialed, you are you the army makes sure that you should be a sad person. Army makes sure that uh, you should be displeasured, and your end in your going away from the army should become a disgrace for you. Why? Because it is given to those people who run away from war. But he was just a sad child. He was just a sad person, a saddest person. Why? Because his conditions were like that, and so he was not able to. Uh, he was not able to continue in the army. So I think the slides are up, but the slides are finished. Uh, what I tried to tell you about Poe uh, deserves much more explanation, uh, uh, and he should be discussed. He should be read more because I will try to get more points on Gothic fiction and Alan Edgar Poe with different points, with different interdisciplinary or in the same discipline. We can discuss articles, we can discuss it with many diversities that uh, and if there is a response, I will definitely add it into my collection of videos, lectures. So that's it from my side, and have a good day, sir. And have a good day, Steve.